Hey guys, welcome back to Finance for Firefighters with Warren P. Today we are going to talk about budget strategies. So in the last episode we talked about the meat and potatoes getting into actual budgets, but today we're going to talk about some budget strategies. So quick little snippet of stats for you. 50% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck and they have less than $8,000 in the savings accounts. Why is this? It's not because they don't make enough. It's because they don't budget and they don't strategize with their budget itself, right? People tend to spend all the money that's left in their account. They don't, if you're not planning for emergency fund, retirement accounts, investing, purchasing home, building assets, increasing your net worth, if you're not accounting for those things and budgeting for them, they're not going to happen. Most folks don't have the discipline to make that stuff happen. So today we're going to dive into budget strategies. Very few people have the discipline to not spend everything that's in their accounts. Best way to solve this problem: get it out of your immediate reach. If you can automatically transfer it somewhere else into a savings account or retirement accounts, investment accounts, you are much less likely to spend it. You're much more likely to build wealth. Analyze your expenses. Do this through either through a 3-month period, either pen to paper, tracking credit card statements, things like that, or by using apps like Mint or YNAB or Every Dollar, things like that that'll automatically link to your bank accounts and they'll quantify things. They'll split it up by different categories: food, shopping, utilities, all those kinds of things. And you'll see exactly what your budget looks like as a good snapshot of what you're spending. Split expenses by needs, wants, and savings. Your needs are necessities, wants are things that you desire, and then savings are your savings and investments. The goal for you, once everything is set up and you're in a financial position where you're actually gaining wealth and building net worth, should be 50% towards needs, 30% towards wants, and 20% towards savings.
We talked about this before in episode 6, but we'll review a couple things. We got a fictional person here. I just Googled some basic stats here saying that the gross for a top step firefighter in Sacramento is approximately $120,000 a year. Net for that after taxes would be $96,000. And if that person contributed the max to their deferred comp, their net would drop to $79,000. Here's a budget that we set up for them based on some information I gathered for typical costs in the area. So for the person who takes home the $8,000, their excess would be $3,600 and change. Person who takes home $6,600, their excess would be $2,100 and change. So a couple little charts here on the side that shows to dive a little deeper into what the needs, wants, and savings categories are based on the 50-30-20 split. So for the top step firefighter income take home that does not contribute to the 457, their needs should be approximately $4,000 of their budget. If their net is approximately $8,000, want should be about $2,400, and then savings should be about $1,600. That breaks up the percentages. So if we look at this person here and we use this fictional firefighter saying that this budget was pretty lean, if we remove some of these numbers here, the wants part of this, you're seeing that the needs for this particular firefighter is pretty close to what we're seeing in this budget here, right? So if we put those back, and then we separated these things and we added more wants, there's obviously a much bigger area for wants because the only wants they have is $200 for spending and then the $100 for the gym membership, right? So they still have quite a bit more in there. And as we're seeing here, because the excess in this fictional one showed that much more that they could allocate towards savings towards the example we did. For the other firefighter example, that same top step firefighter income, but having the 457 maxed, obviously the total amount is less, like we talked about before. The take home is less. Needs would obviously be less. Wants that have less to live on, and then their savings would be a smaller percentage of it. But this doesn't obviously calculate the 23.5 that was already put ahead. This is just being more conservative based on what they're taking home. So this one is they're already maxing out their retirement accounts, and then they've got a smaller percentage here, or a smaller amount for $1,300 versus the $1,600. But if this firefighter was still saving that amount and investing that amount and living well below their means, they would have a significant leg up on the other firefighter that's not maxing out the 457.
Automate as much as possible. This can be done through automatic withdrawals through a credit card or checking account through ACH. Same thing should apply to all your savings and investments. So if your goal is to save $500 a month, don't wait till the end of the month to deposit $500. Once you get paid, $500 either once a month or $250 a paycheck, however you do it, automatically transfers from that account to that savings or investment vehicle immediately, same day. This next suggestion is a very, very powerful one. Base all of your budget and your income based on your base pay. Do not include overtime. So many folks get used to that overtime. Don't include overtime in your normal budget. Use overtime as a vehicle to either pay off debt or build wealth. How can you do this? Well, some effective ways would be having two different accounts and having an automatic deposit of X amount of your paycheck that includes no overtime. So let's say that you take home $2,000 a paycheck and you worked a few overtimes. You have it set up through your payroll to say, hey, $2,000 a month or $2,000 a check automatically goes into this account at bank number one. The remaining balance goes into an account at bank number two. Okay. And then having bank number one pay all of your normal bills, all of your budgetary stuff, and then bank number two be a lot less easily accessible by you. So if you have a debit card, don't keep that one in your wallet. If you have a credit card, don't keep it in your wallet. Have that thing put in a drawer in your desk so that you don't touch those things. And then that one should be managed separately. So if that's where your emergency fund is housed, or you link to your investment accounts or your other savings accounts and stuff are in that separate bank number two, you are much, much more likely to build wealth through the overtime. Don't rely on it for normal bills. Use it for building wealth and paying off debt. Another method, if you don't like the idea of setting things up to have a budget and having to track everything, paying credit cards off and looking at that, you can set it up to where you are, you have the fixed amount going into your budget, and then use cash to pay for the majority of your incidental stuff, like your incidentals, that my wife and I call them. Things like that are we budgeted as groceries. And groceries includes going to Target, Costco, any other things we need to do, but it also includes us going out for coffee or eating out and things like that. We do it to where it's automatically paid off on a credit card and we keep a budget within that system. But another way some folks like doing it is have all your bills automatically paid and then have a certain amount that you have for those groceries, and you just pull cash out every either paycheck or every month. Split those that amount of cash up into weekly envelopes, and then use the envelopes in cash to do all that spending and things like that. So if once the money's running low or the money runs out, you're done. Cut yourself off. That'll keep you within budget. You can refer to episode 5 for how my wife and I manage our finances, and a couple of other examples of how couples can manage finances together. Another budget strategy that'll help you stay in continuous wealth building and growth building is to be prepared for and to try to account for and reduce and prevent lifestyle creep. What is lifestyle creep? Well, you can have everything set up in your budget and you're good. You have your 50, 30, 20 split. But as you promote or get educational incentives or get raises and things like that, you are allowing that extra money to go into your excess spending part of your account instead of using the amount. And when you are increasing your income level, you make sure that you're keeping that percentage in those different categories even, or ideally you start increasing the savings part of it. So a good way of doing this is to say, hey, if you get an extra $100 a check or $100 a month in a raise, take $50 of it for yourself, for your spending part of it, and then take the other $50 and put that towards savings. Reallocation is another good way of building net worth and really increasing your wealth. And what's reallocation? So let's say that you have a loan for a truck and you're paying, $1,200 a month for that truck. If you're smart, you've analyzed things and you're working on some of the stuff like we've talked about and improving what you're doing from your budgetary standpoint, you're saying, hey, I'm going to work actively, and let's say you're not paying you haven't gotten rid of the truck or sold it, but you're going to pay the whole thing off. You do that through overtime and some discipline, truck's paid off. Now that bill vanishes, and part of your budget included that $1,200 a month for the truck payment. Well, now you can reallocate that. Say, hey, instead of doing $1,200 a month towards the truck payment that I don't have anymore, I'm going to take that same amount, I'm used to paying it, and I'm going to reallocate it towards investments or savings part of it. And you'll see that from the part of feeling held down by this debt and the payments you have to do, by reallocating that, you're going to see enormous wealth growth on the other side of it. We'll dive into an example here and just show you how much of a difference that would really make for you if you did that small example.
Let's do an example of what a truck loan will actually cost you to show how we can illustrate reallocation of funds. So if the truck price is $70,000, we had a 5-year term, 6.99% interest rate. Let's say we put $10,000 down, and then we're paying 7.25% interest on it. So if we calculate that, scroll down, we'll show that the entire loan amount was $60,000. Monthly payment is about $1,200. Sales tax is about $5,000. Total interest paid is $11,000. Total cost of the truck, a $70,000 truck, is actually $86,000 with everything included. Now, let's assume we've paid this off aggressively through some of our overtime, maybe strike teams, cutting back on budget, all that kind of stuff. And let's say that we paid the entire thing off, and we'll look at what reallocation will do instead of having this bill. What it'll do if you're turning it into an investment. You're looking at what we would do if we reallocated the money that we were paying, the $1,200 a month, towards a truck. So let's say we paid the entire truck off quick. We didn't have that bill anymore, but we were still used to paying that bill. So instead of having a bill to pay, we're paying off debt. We're using that money to now invest. So let's start with $0 invested, and then we're going to round up a little bit. We'll say it's $1,200 a month. Do a 5-year period. Give a 7% rate of return. Calculate. So in 5 years with compounding interest, you're going to have about $82,000 that you will have saved up just by reallocating what that truck payment was that you were used to. So having this, you'd be in a position to use this to even purchase a new truck 100% cash next time with money left over.
Depending on your financial net worth or your net worth snapshot, your priorities should include something like this, or should progress in something like this. You should pay off debt, you should build an emergency fund, start working towards increasing your net worth through things like acquiring assets like a home, increasing your deferred comp and your investments, and then getting to a spot where you've actually maxed out all of your deferred comp contributions. So there are various different types of budget strategies you can do to help improve your financial spot and your personal finances between you and your spouse, or if you're single, just on your own. But the main takeaways I would say from this one are hope for the best, plan for the worst. We had another example of this before, talking about living in Tornado Alley. If you live in Tornado Alley and a tornado takes out your house, you shouldn't be shocked by it. You should be preparing for it. You hope it doesn't happen, but if it does happen, it's your fault. It's your fault that you haven't been able to weather that storm. You didn't build a storm shelter. You didn't have spare food, water, emergency generator, backup power, things like that. Plan for those things. We are not the masters of our own destiny, okay? We get paid through taxes. And if the economy is doing really, really poorly, that can affect us. If we're used to overtime, and if we're used to living outside of our means, and things go from bad to worse in something like that, with a housing market crash or something else locally that affects our city and it goes bankrupt or something like that, you need to be able to weather those storms. So be responsible, plan ahead, and if you don't know something, learn about it. And that's what the whole point of this stuff is. Well, guys, thanks for joining me on this episode of Finance with Firefighters with Warren P. Same as always, if you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments section. If you like this and want to see more of it, give me a thumbs up. I'll see you guys in the next one.